How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing: always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Chargepoint and as well as for SOFI. We see that these plays posted up some strong green days. If you watched my previous video, I told you guys the levels to watch out for. If we get a break above those levels, we get that momentum. Some of you sent me some messages saying, Dre, thank you for it. We were able to make some money. But aside from that, what did these stocks look like going into Friday? So we're going to be talking about that. So we're going to take a look at the charts, and we're also going to be taking a look at the short interest. And if you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description as well. I won't waste any more time. Let's get into those videos right now. So we're going to take a look at the chart for SOFI. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $6.19, being up 6.36%. On the low, it tested $5.68, and then on the high, testing $6.19. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 38.744 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 40.579 million shares. So we had below average volume on the day, but we saw some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is the daily chart, we can clearly see that SOFI had a strong day. Not only did we post up a higher low, but we also did have a higher high. So as far as the low is concerned, like I talked about yesterday, we wanted to see support hold up above the 550 area. We ended up testing 568, and we had that move well above $6, reaching high at $6.19. You guys could see that I did point out the key level that I want to see SOFI get to is 625. If we can have that break above 625, which is very possible for it to do that tomorrow, we can get to that 21 EMA at $6.30, and then wanting to see what it would do from there. If it gets above 650, watch out, we open the door to get to $7. If we decide to have a pullback now, of course we want to see a continuation of our higher low pattern. So knowing that we tested the low at 568, if we could find support right at $6, that would be a good look for SOFI going into next week. But in my personal opinion, that $6 area is going to be very significant going into tomorrow, so please keep that on close watch. If we decide to break through the low that we had today at 568, of course you want to see continued strength right around this $5.50 area. And we also do know if that area does decide to break, we can come down to 515. But overall, SOFI is looking really good. Let's see if we can make that move above 625 tomorrow. So we're going to take a look at the short interest information for SOFI. So the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 34.20%. And then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 4.72 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 10 million, updated 24 minutes ago. And then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 1.06%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 6th, it was at 39.04. And then for the close of the 7th, being at 34.20. So that is a significant difference right there. And then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float, being at 15.19%, SOFI does continue to have short squeeze potential. So we're going to take a look at the chart for Chargepoint. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $17.25, being up 7.28%. On the low, it tested $15.67, and then on the high, testing $17.26. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 12.54 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 12.658 million shares. So you can clearly see we had about the average, and we saw some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, like I spoke about yesterday, Chargepoint can really gain some momentum if it could get the break above 1651. And look where we got. Chargepoint ended up closing at 1725 and saw a high at 1726. It's also trading below all of our major moving averages, which is the 50 EMA, the 21 EMA, and as well as the 9 EMA. I also let you guys know if we have the 9 EMA cross over the 21, that is a bullish signal. And of course, we have the breakout. I was also saying we wanted to see another higher low, most preferably as long as we're able to have strength at $15. In this particular case, we decided to have strength right at $15.66. 1857 in regards to support. So going into tomorrow, what is a possible move we could see from Chargepoint? Yes, that is right at this $18 level. You know we have some resistance here at 17.94, so if we get that break, it can get really interesting. But in the meantime though, if we decide to have a pullback, where do we want to see strength? Right at this 1650 level. If we could use this area as support, then there's no doubt in my mind we should be able to hit a higher high. But if we're unable to do that, at least we're able to form a higher low going into next week. Now, if we decide to have a pullback into play and we want to go below 1651, then I'm looking for support to come in right at the 9 EMA at $15.72, which is only 5 cents off of the low of the day. If we decide to break through this area around the 9 EMA, then I'm looking for support to come in here right around $15.30. Again, Chargepoint is a really strong play, and with that recent price target upgrade and this momentum, things are definitely looking good. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Chargepoint. So scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filing, we have here for the September the 7th. So we have Wealth Plan Investment Management LLC that purchased 16,659 shares, and of course that's a value of $216,000. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 41.21%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 3.08 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 250,000, updated 26 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 2.36%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 6th, it was at 57.73, and then for the close of the 7th, being at 41.21. So that is a significant difference right there. And then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 15.30%, Chargepoint does continue to have short squeeze potential. So for my final thoughts for Chargepoint and as well as for SOFI, let's start off with Chargepoint. So like I was saying in the previous video, Chargepoint ended up getting a price target upgrade of $22. So there was a good chance the momentum could continue. Not only did we break above the 1651 level, we gained some momentum above $17. So going into tomorrow, what do I want to see? A strong move to $18 is very doable if we continue to see strength inside of the markets. If we don't have that and it decides to pull back, of course we want to see a continuation of the higher lows and as well as the higher highs. But if we don't get the higher high, then the higher low is just fine. If you want some more details on that, make sure you check out the chart portion of the video. We also have to take into consideration that Jerome Powell came out today, which I told you guys about, did not shock the market whatsoever. It kept everything the same. So that contributed to the momentum that we saw. That's why we saw a lot of strength in the IWM. And that makes me want to touch next on SOFI. As far as for SOFI, we know that $6 was a very key level. And considering that it broke above it, you want to see a move going to at least $6.25. If it can get to $6.30, even better. If it can close above $6.50 going into next week, that's where we can see a possible move going to $7. Of course, this is dependent on the market conditions. So I want to make sure that you're adding that to your homework. If we decide to have a further pullback and we want to break the higher low pattern, we know that we want support to hold up around that $5.50 range. If it doesn't, then we can pull back, go into $5.15. So that is something that you want to keep in mind as well. So as far as Friday is concerned for both of these plays, make sure that you keep IWM on your watch list. I've talked about it already on this channel. It is mainly representing small to mid cap stocks, and Chargepoint and as well as SOFI are going to be impacted on this because we want to know what the market is actually wanting to do. What does the direction actually look like? So if we see that IWM is showing a lot of strength, then we know that the market is risk on. If we see some weakness and it's starting to pull back, then we know the market is going risk off. And the reason why this is important for plays like Chargepoint, SOFI, the Mullins, and as well as for Lucid is because these companies are not consistently profitable. I know I sound like a broken record when I mention this, but I want to make sure it's ingrained in your mind. So the moment the market goes risk off, we're going to see significant pullbacks in these stocks, and that's something you want to be prepared for, and that's why I give you those levels to the downside. And for my traders, I hope you're taking advantage of these levels that I talk about, because when we get those breaks, there's easy opportunities to make money. I get a lot of messages from people saying, hey Dre, thanks for putting that video out. I've also been noticing that even YouTube is hating. They don't want you guys making money when you're watching my videos, but of course, this is not financial advice. I will continue to keep you guys inside of the loop, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.